Welcome to part 2 of our Opportunity Zone introduction. In this episode we discuss how, why, and when to invest in Opportunity Zones. Brief recap. In part 1 we focused on the location of Opportunity Zones, as that aspect of the program is most often misunderstood. Here in the Valley of the Sun, for instance, most low-income and distressed areas were not chosen as Opportunity Zones, while most high-income downtown areas did achieve Opportunity Zone status. Perception meet reality. A program created to help distressed low-income communities does not in fact happen in those communities. This can be explained somewhat. The Opportunity Zone program was created to lure money out of places where it was already doing well. Investments that had created profit and were now, in theory, being held out there in stasis because if you pull the money out, you immediately get taxed on capital gains. So they would offer a capital gains tax break to try to pull that money and motivate it out onto the street where it can flourish. Well, in order to get someone to pull money out of a place where it's already done well, you need to give them something worthy of investing in. So they picked areas where they thought they achieved that. And we think they did too. Some of the areas that could have used help, your Sunny Slopes, your Maryvilles, didn't get it. Maryville, for instance, has 1 square mile that is in an Opportunity Zone. The rest of the entirety is not. Sunny Slope, not an inch of it is in an Opportunity Zone. Meanwhile, areas that probably didn't need help, Paradise Valley Mall, for instance, is an Opportunity Zone. So they did their best. Go to STANLEYFOSHA.com and go to our Opportunity Zone map. Some of the places that you may not even consider could possibly be an Opportunity Zone actually are. And that's what we're going to talk about next. So on that map at STANLEYFOSHA.com, when you go around and look at the Opportunity Zone locations, one of the things you'll notice is that they use the streets as the boundary lines. So what that creates is situations where one side of the street is in an Opportunity Zone and the other side of the street is not. When we work together and we go out and we find opportunities that are in Opportunity Zones, we'll be really careful to kind of steer away from some of these areas that are a little convoluted. At their core, the Opportunity Zone program is a tax savings program. It's a program that expires December 31st, 2026. So if you want to get into the program, that's when the doors shut. Call it a tax shelter with a front door that slams closed December 31st, 2026. Now, the program itself offers 3 types of tax savings. Number 1, there's tax deferment. Number 2, tax discount. Number 3, free tax on appreciation. We'll get to that in a minute. Tax deferment is taking your taxes and shoving them out to another point in time to be paid. You pull this investment out in this year, 2021, alarm bells go off down at IRS HQ. Hey, he pulled the money out, we need to tax him on that. There's capital gains due. With this program, the Opportunity Zones, you can pull that money out, and if within 180 days, you invest it into an opportunity fund, which then invests in an Opportunity Zone, you can now defer the taxes on that money until 2027. We talked about earlier how the door closes on this program December 31st, 2026. Well, that's because the deferment happens for all of the years involved in 2027. Of course, tax deferment is just taking your bill and moving it down the line, paying it later. There is a tax discount still left and available in this program. That discount runs out at the end of this year. So you have until the end of 2021 to purchase property in an Opportunity Zone, and if you hold that property 5 years, which would take us right up to the time they close the front door, December 31st, 2026, if you bought the property this year, held it till then, that's 5 years, you get 10% off of the money owed on the original money you pulled out. So that capital gains bill not only gets shoved out to 2027, you will also get 10% off of it. that 10% can be a significant amount. So that's just something to consider. That opportunity to get that discount sunsets at the end of 2021. There will be no discount going forward, but that's okay because the discount isn't really the big deal with opportunity zones. It's a nice thing, but it's kind of the tip. The big iceberg is laying underneath, and they don't really even talk about it. See, the deferments and discounts, they're nice, but the real big kahuna with opportunity zones is tax-free appreciation. You take $1 million out this year, you buy a mixed-use building down on McDowell, and you hold that property for 10 years. 10 years, gotta drive that in. 10 years is where the real discounts occur with opportunity zones. And they did that for a reason. I mean, the logic here is that someone's gonna be an active investor in an area that needs help. So they want you there for the long haul. They want you invested, concerned, helping. So, 10-year hold, at the end of that 10 years, you have now qualified for tax-free appreciation. So any dollar you make in appreciation on that building, let's say we bought it for $1 million, and in 2032 you sell it for $2 million. Good job. But that extra $1 million you made in appreciation has no taxes due on it. So how do we get our money into an opportunity zone property or business? For starters, you take your initial investment that you're pulling out from somewhere else and you're going to put it into a qualified opportunity fund. Now, there's a directory of those. There's 233 as of today national opportunity funds that you can invest in. However, what you don't find a lot of information online about, and what we're going to discuss next, is you can create your own opportunity fund to go out and buy properties with, and you don't have to be saddled with a lot of the regulations that getting in with a large group of investors comes with it. You can be your own opportunity fund. It's not simple, but it's not that hard. We're going to talk about it right now. Step 1, you need capital gains made from some other investment. Step 2, you need a strategy. Properties inside opportunity zones do not magically become wise investments. The more you learn, the more you earn. To do the legwork and to locate the worthwhile real estate opportunities that happen to be inside opportunity zones. Step 3, talk to your tax accountant. Your tax situation is unique. There are filing requirements for opportunity zone investments you do not want to surprise your tax people with. Step 4, create your opportunity fund. Filing as an S-Corp tends to be the most popular choice. Now, you're going to file with a Form 8996. It's an IRS Form 8996, which tells the IRS this S-Corp is an opportunity fund. Now, from that point on, that S-Corp with its unique EIN number is going to file taxes, and those taxes are going to go with that 8996 form that says this is an opportunity fund. That opportunity fund's rules are 90% of the funds have to be spent on properties or businesses in the opportunity zone. The spirit of opportunity zones is one of improvement, of revitalization. So whether you agree or disagree that the opportunity zones are located in areas that actually need revitalization, the IRS says they do. And that's good enough for the rest of us. I know what you're thinking. Did he just speak for 60 minutes or only 5? To be honest with you, with all this red tape, I kind of forgot myself. But seeing as how this is unlimited tax-free profit, the most powerful profit in the world, and could blow your portfolio clean open, you've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? No. Why didn't I learn about opportunity zones before? Yeah, that was it. Why didn't I learn about opportunity zones before? I got to know. The opportunity zone rule book is thick, and some of the rules in it are more confusing than a birthday party clown with Tourette's syndrome. For instance, certain properties require extensive, comprehensive, expensive repairs in order to qualify as an opportunity zone investment. Meanwhile, there's an entire other category of properties that require 0 investment to qualify as an opportunity zone investment. Knowing the difference is important. This is not an easy program to digest, but it's not that hard. The tax advantages are unrivaled. The program itself is hardly known. 90% of the properties for sale in Maricopa County that are in opportunity zones don't mention it because the sellers nor their agents have any idea what an opportunity zone is. So there's an entire swath of properties, investment opportunities out there that are virtually untouched because this program has just flown under the radar for most of its entire existence. There is simply too much to this program to get into one video that could keep people awake. So if you'd like to learn more, contact me. We'll set up a consultation, we'll look at your needs, develop a strategy that makes sense, and then the fun begins. Look, the clock is ticking on this program. It runs out at the end of this year for our discount. So give me a ring, let's discuss, let's move.